Welcome to another episode of Chat Sports Talk, and welcome to Week 7 of the 2023 college football season. And once again, my personal life has interfered with this YouTube channel, and I failed to get my Week 6 recap video out, reaction video. And I recorded it, never went to production or put in the graphics, because I had car issues. So, great times had by all. This is life. But speaking of last week, I had my worst week ever. It was bound to happen. I knew the bubble would burst sooner or later, and it did. I ended up going 5-7 last week. I fell in the hype of that Red River Rivalry. I said that whoever was favored always tends to lose. I fell right into that trap. I said, talked about the trap, said, watch out for the trap. I stepped right into the trap. Yeah, there was a lot of them I called that didn't quite happen. Like A&M couldn't do anything against Alabama. Louisville completely dominated Notre Dame. Wyoming upended Fresno State's bid for a perfect season. So there was a lot of games that definitely went the wrong direction. There's a couple of them I was not sure of, like the NC State Marshall. I wasn't sure of Marshall winning. Marshall did make it a game, though. I'll give him credit for that. So there you go. 5-7, worst weeks. So let's see if we can rebound off of that with another selection of 12 games I find interesting this Saturday. And there's quite a few big-time matchups that has a lot of implications in the seedings coming up for that initial college football playoff poll, which comes out at the end of this month. So on Halloween is when you make the debut of the college football playoff poll. I'll try to have my poll debut a day prior, and then we can compare the facts. But let's go ahead and dive into these 12 games I got coming up, and I've got some dandies, like I said. Let's start off with the big-time showdown over there in Seattle. A top 10 Pac-12 showdown between number 8 Oregon and number 7 Washington. Two future Big Ten members. Huge rivalry between these two programs. And a lot on the line in terms of playoff implications. Pecking order in the Pac-12, because USC looked pretty vulnerable last week. Because Arizona took them to overtime. So you got those aspects, and there's a whole plethora of teams that are sitting there with one loss in conference that can easily overtake them as well. The Pac is a conference notoriously known for eating their own. And there's going to be no exception this year with so many teams that are doing extremely well. Even teams at the bottom seem to have some good showings and take teams to the limit. But with Oregon and Washington, it's Nix versus Penix. Which quarterback do you like the most? Which defense do you think is going to show up? Penix Jr. is almost at 2,000 yards this season. This is going to be a true test for both these programs. I do like Washington in this matchup. They are favored right now by 3, which I think is perfect. I think it's going to be a nice shootout. Right now, the over-under 67. I think it might be a little bit higher. I think the defense is going to be stepped aside. It's going to be an offensive showing. It's going to be like a 45-42 type of showing. I think it's going to be one of those games where it's like, who's going to score next? But I think these two quarterbacks are very good. They should be able to find their receivers appropriately. The Ducks, with their running a game with Irving, they got to get more involved. He barely at 400 yards. So we'll see how this one plays out. But like I said, I'm going to Washington to win at home. Then we're over to Knoxville, where A&M comes into town to take on the Vols. A&M's just got to try to recover from their embarrassment at home against the Tide. And I think a game at Knoxville is not the answer for that. Milton III is going to be a very good quarterback. I mean, he's a kind of a dual threat type of guy. Over 1,100 yards, but only 9 touchdowns, but 3 interceptions. So the Aggies' defense should make his make it a little more difficult for him. For the Aggies, Max Johnson's now taking over. Um, and he's got his brother as a tight end, and they connected last week. I thought more of the Johnson and Johnson connection, but didn't work quite pan out there in Aggie land. And I think Texas A&M will make this a game. Their defense should step up, try to reassert itself once again. Tennessee's offense is something that you cannot overlook. Wright has over 400 yards rushing, but only has one touchdown. But, with Melton and Wright both back there running, it's kind of hard to contain. If you get one, there's the other one that squeaks out. If you take away the running, then Melton can hit you in the air. So there's a lot of things you have to worry about with Tennessee's offense. The defense needs to step up as well to kind of confuse Max Johnson and try to eliminate the possibility of him making some key plays, because he can do that. Right now, Tennessee's favored by 3. I like those odds as well. I will go with the Vols winning at Rocky Top, but I think this will be a very, very close matchup. Then we head over to Stillwater, where the Oklahoma State Cowboys play host to 23rd ranked Kansas Jayhawks. Now, Oklahoma State's had a really kind of rough going so far this season, and won the first 2, lost the next 2, then back in the winning ways. Then take on the Kansas team. It's kind of have to rebound a bit off that Texas loss not too long ago. But I have a feeling that Kansas is going to find a way. Right now, Bowman for the Cowboys is just not a quarterback you can trust. Neal has been one of those dynamic running backs for the Jayhawks. So, looking at this matchup, I think Kansas needs when it gets back. They're 2-1 in conference play. They need to get this win to kind of separate themselves from the rest of the pack, close to the top heap. Maybe get close to sniffing around Oklahoma a bit. Maybe Texas could lose another game here and they can find themselves in the Big 12 title game. Who knows? But Kansas favored by 3. I think it's another safe bet on that one. I have a feeling that Oklahoma State's going to make this close, just because it's just a conference game. These two schools know each other very well from the old Big 8 days. I'll go with that as well, but I think Kansas won by more, but definitely will go with Kansas. Then we have to Madison, Wisconsin, where the 4-1 Badgers play host to the 5-1 Iowa Hawkeyes. Both schools right now not ranked. I think it's a little questionable. I think one of them should be. But if you look at this one, this is going to be who is going to take control of the Big Ten West. This is basically what this one is. This is an early Big Ten West type of showdown to determine who's going to have a clearer path to Indianapolis. Right now, Wisconsin's 2-0 conference play. Iowa is 2-1, so Iowa definitely needs to get this win to kind of even things out. That's where things kind of get interesting, because for the Badgers, Mordecai, only 1,000 yards a passer. He has the same amount of interceptions, touchdowns, so not very reliable. It's the running attack that is the focus of the Badgers' aggression. And Allen has over 470 yards, 7 touchdowns. So if Iowa could find the defense could find some way to contain that running attack to minimize the damage, you're not going to stop it. You have to minimize the damage. And if Iowa's offense can match that intensity, Iowa should be able to do good. But right now, Iowa is really kind of not showing that a little bit too much. I mean, they're a 5-1, so they've had a very good start of the season, as they normally do. This is a very well coached or very well recruited program. And right now, Wisconsin's favored by 9.5. Taking the Hawkeyes. I have more faith in Iowa right now than I do Wisconsin, but this one could change. Like I said, I'm not behind this one because, like I said, Wisconsin's favored by so much. But it's just one of those rivalry games that you really have to look into, and I think that Iowa should make this an interesting game and sneak out with the victory. Then we head back out to the back to Washington State and to Pullman for the Cougars, 4-1, 19th ranked, taking on the 3-3 Arizona Wildcats. Now, the Wildcats have 2 games that went into overtime. If they won those games, they'd be 5-1 right now. And in those games, I think a lot of people didn't think they had a chance of winning. That was when they were at Mississippi State and at the Coliseum against USC. And it's going to be a interesting showdown because USC had a hard time containing this Arizona offense. I think Washington State's defense is going to have a hard time containing this Arizona offense. This offense has not missed a beat with Dolores being out and Fafita being the primary, and he's done an excellent job in excelling the opportunity he's been given. He's yet to really hit the next level, but this team as a whole has pieces in place to be good next season if they can hang on to the talent. And Washington State is just one of these teams that everyone's kind of overlooked, and they have quality amass a 4-1 record, 19th ranked overall. Last week, they could not win at UCLA, and I thought they would. So they're kind of looking to kind of rebound. I think Arizona, like I said, Arizona is going to give them everything that they can. Washington State is favored by 7.5. I don't think so. I really don't. I really don't think that's going to be the case. Arizona's been playing very close to a lot of teams they should be playing close to. I think this is the game that they're going to get over the hump, and they're going to surprise Washington State in Pullman and escape with a W. Probably winning in overtime. Seems to be their MO so far, but I'm going with the Wildcats. We head out to Baton Rouge, where the LSU Tigers, 22nd ranked, 4-2. Why they're still ranked, I have no idea. Play host to the Auburn Tigers at 3-2. So a Tiger clash in Death Valley to kind of solidify LSU's position in the West. Right now, Auburn is sinking fast in that SEC West division, 0-2. I've known this one, they don't have a chance to really kind of bounce back. I don't see much of changing in that one. Daniels is the dual threat quarterback that you have a hard time containing, on the ground or in the air, because he has over 1,900 yards passing with 19 touchdowns. He barely throws picks. Diggs is a nice complement in the running attack for the LSU Tigers. I got specify which one here. Almost 500 yards, but only 4 touchdowns. And, the Bayou Bengal fans have been asking already for removal of Kelly. But being an Irish fan, I can tell you that man gives you a lot of heartache. He gives you a lot of highs, and then he'll just cap you off at the knees. But not today. I think the Bayou Bengals is going to be way too much for Auburn. Right now it's an 11-point spread. I don't think it's going to be quite that much. Maybe a 9. I think Auburn might make it close, but then once again, what the heck do I know? But definitely LSU. I think another game everyone's overlooking is out there in the Mountain West. The 5-1 Cowboys head into Colorado Springs to take on Air Force, who's also 5-0, neither one ranked. Both of them undefeated in conference play. Wyoming came off of that great game against Fresno State where they completely obliterated the Bulldogs' offense. Wyoming's defense is no joke. They are going to hamper Air Force running attack. They did it last year. And right now they got Air Force favored by 11. Right now I'm going to tell you, take the points for Wyoming. This is going to be a lot closer than that. I don't think Air Force is going to have the ability to put up that many points. Whaley for the Cowboys should put up some decent numbers. He already has 540 yards for the year, only 3 touchdowns. So he's a bruising running back. Can dictate the pace of the game, which is something that you kind of need to do with Air Force, trying to keep that offense off the field. That's what Wyoming did last week against Fresno State, make sure that offense stayed off the field. and then surrounded them when they had to. But I got to go with Air Force on this one. I think they will end up winning this one. This is going to be the kind of the game to see who's going to win that Mountain Division. And maybe now, because of Fresno stumble, maybe host the Mountain West Championship game. Now, I know it's a little early in that aspect, but I like Air Force on that one. Definitely not for the 11. Like I said, take Wyoming for the points, but I'll take Air Force for the W. And then we head to South Bend. Once again, Notre Dame under the lights. And get to play host to number 10, USC. Notre Dame still hanging on to a top 25 ranking. Everyone seems to love the Irish. I mean, I know I do, so that's not saying a lot. USC stumbled immensely against Arizona last week, and Notre Dame got manhandled by Louisville. Hartman actually threw his first interception, his second interception, and third interception of the season. He had a hard time holding on to the ball because I think it's 5 turnovers he had alone. So in the Irish defense, can't really stop a run. And it's proven with Duke and Louisville the past 2 games that a decent running back can exploit the Irish line. I mean, there's nothing against the Irish, but with Hartman, they have a great quarterback in charge of that offense, and the tight ends are a focal point. Estime was a non-factor last week, so we'll see what happens with this week coming up. Maybe some off-field issues that not have him play and limited touches, or maybe he was just trying to get a different spark because I think Louisville's looking, Estime, we got to go after him, so they're someone else, and proved to be pretty elusive himself. But Caleb Williams, 22 touchdowns in the air. Should have some fun times with this Irish secondary. He should be able to pick apart Notre Dame. Now, I think Notre Dame will make this close. I'm not going to say it's going to be a blowout like Louisville did. I think Notre Dame should make this close. I think it's going to be similar to that Ohio State game. It's going to be going back and forth. Right now, Notre Dame's favored by 3. As much as I want to go with the Irish on this one, I'm leaning towards USC. I have more faith in Caleb Williams right now than I do Hartman. I'm not saying that, Notre Dame can't win. I'm sure they can. They're going to make it seem like they're going to, because I'm definitely going to be watching this game because it's at the TV when USC starts, putting up all the points. But like I said, I had a little bit more faith with the Trojans in this one. Then we head over to Chapel Hill with undefeated North Carolina. Will play host to 4-1, 24th ranked Miami in a showdown in the ACC. Now, Miami's only won in conference play, but losing a second game in conference play might detract their ability to get to Charlotte an ACC championship. I know it's early to start talking about these conference championship games, but a lot of these games have those type of implications already this season. And we're not even halfway through the season yet. But Derek May is just one of these quarterbacks you want to just believe in and you just want to rally behind. He does make a lot of mistakes. He has 4 touchdowns, but he doubles that in touch. He has 4 interceptions, but he doubles that in touchdowns with 8. Over 1,600 yards passing. Miami had that awful game against Georgia Tech that just kind of burst a bubble on them. I am expecting Miami to rebound. Right now, North Carolina's favored by 3, and I get that. I think everything points to the Tar Heels winning at home, but Tar Heels have shown to kind of struggle against teams that really can match their intensity, and Miami's one of those teams that could definitely do that. Once again, like I did earlier in the season when they played A&M, I'm taking the Hurricanes for the upset win and go 5-1 and really pollute that ACC pool. Then we head up to Lexington, Kentucky with a 24th ranked Wildcats coming off of their winning their huge loss against Georgia, will play host to Missouri. I think a Missouri team that probably found themselves ranked a little early, even though they're undefeated. Pretty much got embarrassed at that time frame by LSU, which I knew they would. And Cook has been a very decent quarterback, over 18 yards passing, 13 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. But I think it's going to be that Kentucky rushing attack, that Kentucky defense that should apply some pressure to this. Davis, over 650 yards on the ground, 8 touchdowns. He's going to be the main focal point of the Wildcats' attack. Right now, Kentucky's favored by 2.5. I kind of like that one. I think Missouri's going to try to rebound, try to reassert itself. Kentucky's the exact same way because they just got manhandled by Georgia. So they got to try to reclaim their dignity. Having a bulldog beat them up, so they got to go after another feline. And I think it's going to be a great showdown between these two. But I will go with Kentucky winning at home. We'll head back out west to Corvallis, Oregon, as the Oregon State Beavers, 15th ranked, play host to 18th ranked UCLA. Both programs only have one loss of the season. Both have absolute excellent teams. UCLA has proven very resilient. Like I said, the only misstep they had was with Utah, where they couldn't do anything more than have one offensive touchdown. Their defense played excellent to limit Utah to only one offensive touchdown. Last week, they were able to handle Ward and Washington State with no issues. So you got Ugalele coming in with his 13 touchdowns, 1,300 yards passing. And I think UCLA is going to find ways to come up, but they got to also worry about Martinez and the Beavers rushing attack. He has over 580 yards, but he doesn't score touchdowns. So he's kind of a controlled running attack, and then Ugalele, I think I say it now, can find people to throw it to. So see if UCLA's defense can't corral that, and they have been known to do that this season. Because I kind of went back and forth on this one. To try to figure out exactly who I'm going to go with. And right now the line's 3.5. I keep looking at my paper here because I have like two different marks. I don't know. This is one of these games that you're like, who do you pick? They both have great marks. They both have a tenacious teams. They both really are that second team in that Pac-12 race. They can make a noise and make a trip to Vegas. Depending who wins out, who stays undefeated, if they get good wins here and there, knock off some other ones. I mean, it's like I said, that Pac-12 race is going to be very, very tight. And this is not going to help the situation at all. And I want to go UCLA because of the defense, but I also want to go Oregon State because I trust their offense a little bit more. And I'm torn. I'm picking the home team. I'm going to Beavers. And I'm completely unsure with this one. I think this one is going to be a huge game. It's going to be like a coin flip. I really do. I mean, right now the line's 3.5 for the Bees. I think it's very favorable. I think it's almost even in my books, but I'm taking Oregon State. And to finish off this week, we head back over to Durham as a 401 17th ranked Blue Devils play host to in-state rival 4-2 NC State Wolfpack. This should be a very entertaining game over there in the ACC country. Duke, who's only 1-0 in conference play, so they're still very much in favor to be the top dog in the conference. NC State kind of needs this win to kind of stay within pace of the top spot and make their presence kind of known. Armstrong hasn't really been that great of a transfer. He hasn't even passed 1,000 yards. He has more interceptions than touchdowns. So Concepcion is kind of the highlight of the passing attack, but if Armstrong can't get to him, he's ineffective. Leonard, a quarterback for Blue Devils, is very, very good. They also have I believe Waters in the backfield as well, who can actually do some damage. So, and then Duke defense is no joke. Right now, Duke's favored by 3 in this game. I think it's going to be more than that. I think Duke is going to establish dominance. They're going to tame the wolf, tame the pack. But I really think Duke's going to come in there and really say Duke is also a football school. I think they're going to win way more than 3. I think it's going to be like a 6 or 7 point victory, if not more. But I'm all in on Duke. All right, there you go. Those are my 12. Like I said, there's a few games in here I am not 100% sure on, much like last week. We got some great conference matchups that can really shape the landscape moving forward, determine the pecking order of conferences. Other teams you thought would be up there are no longer there. Look at Texas. They're now down the peg in the Big 12 thanks to that loss to Oklahoma. But Oklahoma hasn't really benefited from that. USC doesn't look all that dominant over there in the pack. So we'll see what happens in Oregon and Washington. So like I said, there's a lot of interesting pieces moving here and there to find out which teams are going to start edging towards the top of the conference and the conference championship games, and also the pecking order of the playoffs. That's why, everyone likes the 14 playoff. I'm looking forward to a 12-team format. That's just me. I like to see the little guys win, in the baseball playoffs right now. All 5 top teams are out of the playoffs, and you have 3 wild cards battling for the league championship series. I know. I just like the chaos sometimes. But hey, let me know down below which game you thought I got completely wrong. Which game you're looking forward to this weekend. How is your favorite school doing so far this season? Yeah, I know my love affair with the Irish. And I wish they can do a little bit better. I think it could be another a decent bowl game this year for them, but that's that. Once you're down there, go hit that thumbs up for me. If you especially like the content provided, it really pleases you two guys. Really helps the algorithm out. It really helps promote this video out. You also subscribe. Over 90% of you are not subscribed. It doesn't cost you a dime. You just hit that subscribe button, click the bell icon, turn on your notifications. And until next time I post any more content on my channel. And I'll see you next time on Chat Sports Talk.